Welcome back, Good Samaritans and fellow agents, to another episode of the Pig Roach Files. Today, here in the DIA evidence room, I was going to go ahead and talk about the My Taxes Marathon. So yesterday, on the 23rd of March, 2019, the Pig Roach did a 13-hour long marathon that only came out to be 9.5 hours of gameplay. A typical streamer would normally do about 9.5 hours anyways. But as we know, the Pig Roach isn't typical. So what's going to happen next? Well, in total he made roughly a little over $1,000 in tips, not counting the bits that he raised in his marathon. That is such a minor percentage of his overall need of the $17,161 he announced earlier this week that was owed in taxes. And that doesn't count for his $1,000 tax guy fee. Oh, and what happened with that Emerald 7 money? Yeah, it's pretty much gone. And whatever else he used that was left over from Emerald 7 already went into the total that he needs to pay off. But as he stated before, the Emerald 7 money anyways was not going to be enough to save him from the taxes. So his marathon went okay. He was pretty salty with Street Fighter. Sekiro is a game, as he calls it. Not Sekiro, but Sekiro, according to the Pig Roach, is a tough game. And is going to kick his piggy booty all throughout the next coming weeks. He wanted it to be something more like Dark Souls, with ways to cheese and ways to go ahead and get around certain enemies. However, now, that game is not like that. It wants you to take the challenge, embrace it, and come out on top. The Pig Roach is going to struggle with this, and he's going to be handheld through his chat. And they seem to be pretty bored with the game as the Pig Roach plays it. And that's because the Pig Roach avoids fights, avoids this and that, unless if he can get enough on his side so he knows he's going to win that fight. Next we had some Donkey Kong Country 2. And it was towards the end of the game. And the Pig Roach was struggling for quite some time to get through some of the harder levels at the very end. He was starting to get frustrated to the point where he almost quit fighting King Cruel. He just couldn't get the cannonball timing right. He couldn't figure out the mechanics of the fight. And with his last attempt, somehow he made it. But that attempt came after a quick 5-minute sandwich break. So many breaks filled his stream. His pre-stream alone was about an hour and 15 minutes long, which he counted as part of the marathon. And then he went ahead, got tips from people like Super Blind Man. Who cares? I mean, it's not much money. It's not enough to put a good sizable dent like he wants. He's stated now that a sizable dent is now going to end up being roughly $4,000 to $5,000. Yep. That just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, the IRS, if you're on a payment plan, will make sure your ends meet because the IRS eventually wants your money in their pockets. It's just weird to put a down payment on taxes. But I figure you can do something like that to get a better plan. The Pig Roach continued with his marathon. Jumped into Street Fighter. He jumped into Modern Warfare Remastered because it's the best shooter out there, dude. And he struggled throughout many matches. Every now and then he'd pop off about a triple kill or a double knife kill that ended the game. It's nothing that a decent player just laughs about during gameplay with a couple buddies. It might be a good little highlight clip for him, if he would edit videos. He played some salty Street Fighter. He was pretty unsuccessful for the most part, blaming lag again, which I don't see any lag when he plays games like this. He just can't react anymore. He doesn't have his timing anymore. He doesn't practice the game with enough gusto anymore to be able to go forth and dominate it. So the Pig Roach, even though he was playing these games, Mario RPG included, forgot that one earlier, and some Blackout, just, it's the chill part of the stream, guys. The ones where we can interact more because I'm going to camp in a bathroom and not be very entertaining. That's one thing that I griped about in his Battle Royale gameplay, is that he is not aggressive. He plays this kind of slow, methodical advantage me because I'm so lazy about it somehow. But then he doesn't win the firefights. That's why Lord Lamb, the other day, decided to leave him during Apex because he didn't like the style of gameplay. They weren't meshing together. So he had a talking segment after all was said and done. It was just another one of his give me money talking segments and pay me to go ahead and have an impromptu Ask the Pig. It's not really exciting at all. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about other marathons that he's had. He said that this one, as you can see, was like the most important day in his streaming career. What about the one to save your house in 2017? What about the Indies Game Marathon? What about your other multiplayer Madness marathons or your Christmas game marathons? Were those not important? There is nothing that makes them any different from any of his other marathons, except for that he picks which games he wants to play. He doesn't offer anybody some form of a reward or a stream goal or something else to make sure that he can, maybe facilitate more tips. So he's going to use Blackout as the go-to stream, probably to go ahead and get some extra money here in the next couple weeks. Because, man, those troll tips were high. Yes, people have found a way to go ahead and send bogus tips through his Muxie, forcing him to go ahead and check every single tip amount. He was even checking dollar amounts yesterday. Yes, that's right, a single dollar. Not, oh, somebody paid me $50. Let me go look it up. No, it was $1. And that's pathetic. To stop a stream during a marathon for one greenback. So the troll tips carried on. In fact, Tevin actually made probably more money restreaming the Pig Roach than the Pig Roach made money off of his own pay pigs. And that's saying something. That's saying that that man is more entertaining at showing other people your product than you are at producing your own existence. So taxes are just around the corner now. Will another marathon show up once again? The answer is yes. And that's going to be during my birthday week. That's right, 37 years old, birthday week. I'm happy with just a couple hours of birthday, because I have other obligations to fulfill. His birthday week is going to be pretty bad. It's going to consist of him begging for his hard-earned tips, hoping to reach that $3,000 to $5,000 range that he needs for a decent payment. Which, even though if he doesn't reach that, or if he doesn't reach it, he's going to go ahead and say everything's fine. Thank you for saving my booty again. But if he reaches and goes above and beyond, I expect him to be backpedaling a little bit and pushing up a higher payment in the future. Say another $2,000. Because, oh, I forgot to pay my credit card bills, dude. Yep. He's a sly Mr. Pig Roach. Hopefully one day the pignosis will start wearing off as some of his bigger pay pigs. And it seems like some of his mods have started to make a little more fun of him during these streams with detractor memes, including into their chat with maybe just a Kappa emote to go ahead and cover their butts. It's kind of amusing, to be honest. So, I think that wraps up the recap of his big, giant, save my house, pay my taxes marathon. Thank you for joining me here in another episode of the Pig Roach Files. Please leave a like. Drop a comment below if you want to talk to me about something, or hit me up on Twitter. The link is in the description below. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me grow, and we're pretty darn close to getting up there to about 200 subscribers now. And it's a nice little milestone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for those chats on Twitter. Keep sending those. I love reading them. I love interacting with you guys. And I'll get that new episode of the Gentleman's Club out there as soon as possible as well. So, as always, be safe out there.